So if we look over here on this project, we click on projects here, it brings us to another page. So how do we create another page on our website? So that's what we're going to be looking at right now. And so if we look at the project we're working on right now, I added this section right here. And if we go over to the code, we're going to see how I did it. So go over here and you see it's just like we did in the previous tutorials. You add a table, and this time we have 2 rows, because if you looked at it, there's 2 rows, 2 tabs up here and 2 tabs below. And so in each row we have 2 table datas, and we entered an image and what its title is. So how do we go about creating another page on our website? I really thought at the beginning that it was very complicated and very hard to do, and a lot of code, like it was just probably a big chunk of code to create another page on your website, until I figured out how to do it and how fun and excited it was. So if we go over to the project folder, and what we want to do is create another file. So if we go over to our text edit, wherever you have your text edit at, and you want to create a new document. So if we come over here, we want to title it projects.html, and you want to find the folder you're working in. So if you go over desktop, wherever you have your project folder, you want to move it there. So now it's in the project folder. You want to make sure it's projects.html. And so how do we go about putting this as if you don't want to just code this whole thing again, because we want it to look like the portfolio here, where we have, if we click on projects, it looks the same up here. So we don't want to just go and code this whole thing again. So what we can do is copy it. So if we open this again, we can just copy the top code. So everything that's in the header, you want to just copy and then paste it in here. And you want to make sure you have your body and HTML closed. So we want to close the body and close the HTML. Make sure there's a backslash in front of each one. And so when you save that, come over to the project folder and you double click on projects, and it will open up like this. So now we have another page on our website that's called projects.html. But if we go over to the index.html, it doesn't bring us there if we click on here. So how do we go about doing that? We have to add a link. So that's the simple way of adding a page. It's just creating another HTML page and linking to it using a button inside the main page, which is the index.html. So it's basically like linking to another website. But the only difference is that you're not actually linking to a different website, you're linking to another page, because it's included in the project folder or the project server, wherever your project's going to be. But here it's in the folder on your local computer. So how do we create a link? So what you want to get is this icon right here from the icons, if you haven't already. And these are the 4 icons you can get. From the description below, you can find the link to all the icons I use here. And you can either create that table that I showed you in the beginning, how to create those buttons. And so we're going to go over and create a link. So if we come over to our main project and we go down to the table that I just said. And so how do you create a link? A link is using the element A. So you're going to open A element and put A there, and then close it. And what you need is an attribute, and the attribute for the link is href, and then you're gonna tell it where do you want it to link to. So what we want to link to right here is projects. So you're going to say projects.html, and since the projects.html file is in your project folder, it will link to it. So if we go over here and take the ending tag and we wrap it around what we want to be the link. So we want in this first data, you see here the image for the projects and then the project's name. So if we save that and you go back to the browser and you refresh, you can see now this is a link now. And if we click on the link, it will bring us to our empty page right here. So how do we go about going back? It's also a link, and that's why I said we're going to use that arrow icon. So we're going to go over here to our new page that we created, and we're going to over and add another image element, which is the arrow here. We're going to add it up next to the notifications. So if we go over here and say here we're going to add an image, and the source is going to be arrow, the PNG, and alt equals link back, and then width and height. You always want to specify the width and the height. Make it 20. And so now we have our image. And so like I said, how you create a link, open an A, close A, and then you wrap it around what you want to be the link. Here we only want this image to be the link. And in the A here, we're going to go and add an attribute, href equals open quotes. And where do we want to link it to? We want to link it back to the main page, which is index.html. And so now we have it linked. So we save that, go over to our browser here, and we refresh. We have the button here. And now we can get back to our main page by clicking the link. And there you go. We created another page on our website, and we created a link to link it back and forth. So now if we go to our main project here that we're trying to make, we see all these links here. So your homework for tonight is to go in and create all 4 of these pages if you haven't already created the first one. And from the previous tutorials, you'll be able to insert a table and add these 4 images and these pending projects. It's just an image and then a title. So you can go about creating that table so it's more practice for you, similar to what we did up here as well. And in the next tutorial, I'll show you how to add a video, and we're going to look at formatting. So how do we create nice formatting so we can look at our project code and it makes sense? How do you format it nicely, and how do you make it readable and easy to copy? So that's what we're going to be learning about in the next tutorial. Till then, stay safe. So long.